Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Joyful Jessie. In today's video, I am so excited to share with you a staple in the Puerto Rican culture, and that is plain white rice. It is super easy to make, and you don't just have to eat white rice with beans. You can eat white rice with stews. You can eat white rice with pasta. I remember mom making that all the time. Or just eat it plain with a nice fried egg on top. So make sure to stick around and watch. Per one of my viewers' requests, today I am going to be showing you how to make white rice. And it is so super simple and easy to make, and is such a staple in the Puerto Rican culture. I personally like to use medium grain rice. I like to use medium grain rice because it's just what our family enjoys using. However, some of you might enjoy using the long grain rice instead. Now, this particular recipe that I'm sharing with you when it comes to ratios is for the medium grain rice. If you're cooking with the long grain rice, the ratio of rice to water might be a little bit more. Now, I'm not gonna give you an exact one for the long grain rice right now because I have to make it with the long grain rice, and I haven't cooked a long grain rice for a while. One that I'm certainly certain with is the medium grain, and I am going to be using the Goya medium grain. All you are simply going to be needing for this is simply going to be 2 cups of rice, 2 cups of water, 1 teaspoon of salt. I want to make a correction. I only ended up using half a teaspoon of salt in this recipe, and 2 tablespoons of oil. It could be olive oil, or I'm in this case going to be using canola oil. And of course, you are going to be needing a pot to cook your rice in. Today, since I'm making such a small batch, I'm simply going to be making it in a small saucepan. It's a stainless steel pan, so it works just as good as my bigger one, but since it's a smaller batch, I'm just using a smaller container for it. Now, my husband got me this super awesome rice cooker many, well, not many. I'd say maybe 8 years ago. Okay, so that seems like a while. So I don't typically, unless I'm making a super huge batch, I don't typically cook my rice on the stove. I tend to use my rice cooker all the time. So I usually put my little rice cooker, which makes enough rice for our family. And if I'm cooking for a bigger group of people, then I'll do it on the stove. All right, enough of me chatting. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so I'm only going to be making a small batch of rice today, consisting of only 2 cups, because I'm making it as a side to go along with our lasagna. So I'm gonna use a small little pan here, not that big. I'm not using my big pot for it. I'm gonna turn my heat up to a medium high, and I'm going to put about I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon. Usually I eyeball it, but I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon of oil just to cover the bottom. 1 tablespoon, let me see. I think I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of oil. Okay, and I'm just gonna let that heat up for a little bit. Now, remember, we're only making plain white rice, so we're not adding a bunch of fancy schmancy stuff to this. We're just going to use the medium grain rice, oil, and salt. That's about it, and of course, water. I have my pre-washed rice. I have 2 cups of medium grain rice. 2 of them, I've already washed it, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there. Oops. I am then going to go get my 2 cups of water. Then I'm going to add some salt. I am going to first start just with half a teaspoon for right now. And then I'm gonna taste it and see if half a teaspoon suffices for me. Okay, to my personal taste, the half a teaspoon was perfectly fine. Some other people would rather have theirs a little bit saltier. If you taste it and you feel like you need to adjust your salt, go ahead and put another half a teaspoon, but this is just the saltiness that I personally prefer mine to be. And we're just going to let it boil until the top starts drying up. Remember that I'm cooking this at a medium-high heat right now. Once my rice dries up like this, it's not gonna take very long. It took maybe like 4 to 5 minutes to do that. I'm gonna mix it around, give it one final swirl. Okay. And then I'm going to put the lid on it, and I'm going to bring the heat down all the way to low. And we're going to walk away and we're gonna let it cook for about 15 minutes on very low heat. Do not open it, do not touch it. I know it's very tempting, but just let it sit there for about 15 minutes. After our 15 minutes are up, we're gonna come and take a look. All right, so our rice is almost done. I have set the timer for 15 minutes. Up, and there it goes. Now it's time to go ahead and check our rice and see how it came out. Ooh, nice and steamy. Let's give it a try. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a nice mix. Oh, look at that, guys. For those of you who like pegao, look at this. See that nice thing in the bottom? Nice and crunchy. That's pegao. I remember as a kid, we used to love that stuff. Like I said, I was gonna use this for our side today with our lasagna. That's okay, honey. But I wanna go ahead and give it a whirl, a taste beforehand. Take a closer look. You see how it's not mushy, it's nice and loose and oily. You simply scrape the bottom of the pot. And you see that? And you see this nice brown stuff? This is crunchy stuff. This is pegao. You hear it? People love that stuff. And it seems like this pot of rice has it all in the bottom. All right, my friends, we are going to go ahead and give this arroz blanco, this white rice, a try. If you've noticed, it's nice and loose and it's oily, and hopefully it tastes good. Let's give it a try. The consistency of the rice is absolutely perfect. It is not mushy, it is not too hard. It's perfectly tender and dry, and I personally like my rice to be nice and oily. But like I stated before, depending on your taste, you might add a little bit more salt or use a little bit less salt. And if you are gonna make more, like 3 cups or 4 cups of rice, ratio that you will use for this rice is simply 1:1. 1 cup of water to 1 cup of rice, and just experiment around with it. Typically the 15 to 20 minute mark is the perfect mark for your rice to be cooked. Since this was less, I cooked it for 15 minutes. I think if I was making double the batch, which would be 4 cups, I would simply put it for 20 minutes instead of the 15 minutes. And typically that works pretty well for me. Now, if there is ever a time that you guys would like to see how is it that I make a certain something, please go ahead and comment below and let me know what is it that you would love me to make. And as long as I know how to make it, I'll be more than happy to share with you my simplified version of that dish. Now is your turn to go ahead and give it a try. Whenever you're making white rice, it's that simple. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.